That racehorse place I worked at, where, I mean, besides the fact that you can't tell how much those horses are drinking or not, and you start, even those were just long yearlings and 2-year-olds, you're putting them in training. But, you know, you don't know. If I had to watch those horses, like their ribs and their bodies, to see if I thought they were hydrated enough, because you couldn't tell, and we're putting them through a lot of stress. But anyway, this one filly, one day, I just could tell she wasn't drinking. And those guys, the guy that owned him, he just, you know, he's like, oh, she's fine. And I carried water in there, and sure enough, she would drink the water. And so, but I didn't live there, I didn't own the place. So the next morning, when I got out there, same thing. So I watered her, she drank a whole bucket of water. Anyway, I said, that filly isn't drinking. And so I went and I was, you know, the water's clean. So I put my fingers in it, and I could feel the electric. I could feel an electric current in there. And those cowboys, they would stick their hand in there, and they would say, there's nothing either. She, you know, you know how some cowboys are. It's just kind of like, she'll drink when she's thirsty. Anyway, and I said, no, I'm telling you, there's an electric current in here. Anyway, I harped on them enough and had the electrician come out, and there was, and that filly hadn't been drinking except for when I carried her water. So, but anyway, back to the water thing, we fill these buckets up here. And our barn at the other end, where the younger horses are, we have big tubs of water out there, and we don't monitor their water. But when we get them up here, this is our show barn. I know it's not very fancy, but when they start competition, they get moved. Well, they start in training. I get them moved up here. I know how much they're drinking, how much they're not drinking, how much they eat, if they finish their food early, if they don't finish their food early, and we just monitor everything. And if I'm not the one doing it, which I do have help, Meg's here this year, and my husband does it, and Hannah, anybody, but they report to me. If one of them isn't drinking enough or have changed any behavior, whether it's just not drinking enough or just standing there looking at you instead of going after their food, then we talk about it, and I know it. I know what they're physically, what they're consuming, food, water, and everything. So anyway, I would feel completely out of touch if I didn't know that. You know, because those are indicators. Drinking water, you know, if they stop drinking for stress or ulcers or something like that, and I go out there on a hot day and give them the same kind of workout, I could kill it. Probably not. We don't have so much humidity, but it is harsh on them. And I have had stuff like that happen to me, and then realize, oh my gosh, he's not been drinking. You know, I should have known that. But anyway, so now, and especially when you go to futurities. But the thing about going to futurities, the way our setup is, it's harder, and it's harder, you can't leave it or anything like that. But when I go to a futurity, it's no big deal knowing what those horses are going to act like, what they're going to eat, what they're going to drink, because every day I know that in their stalls here.
And it's good, they already drink out of a bucket. So
and they already drink out of a bucket, that's true, they drink out of a bucket, so when we get to the deal, you know, you put a bucket up there, they know they better get a drink out of it. That helps a whole bunch, so.